Legend says 7 people must die before the treasure is found. 6 people have died so far searching for the treasure. Who the fuck came up with this legend? Right? Where was this legend written?
Fans of the Forge, and we are here wrapping up an episode of Forged and not Forged in Fire.
No.
Curse of Oak Island,
Yeah, that's
baby.
right. That's right. Get on track.
Season 7, Episode 4. We are back at it, and the Curse Boys, the Oak Island guys, those crazy fellas, they're back at it as well.
Well, yeah.
If you remember, in the previous episode, it ended with a very interesting discovery where they found dynamite in one of the core drill samples that they pulled out. So they found this dynamite at around 95 feet, and they decided they're going to move away about 10 feet in a different direction along what they think would be the direction of the flood tunnel and do another drill down into the ground. And when they do that, they pull it out, and at 51 feet, they find pieces of wood that are clearly, fabricated pieces of wood.
Okay.
At 51 feet, and then at 54 feet, like they went through a tunnel, like roof and floor.
Oh.
And that's where it stopped. And they could tell by looking at it that these were hand cut, not machine cut, which makes you know that means these are older.
Yeah.
So 54 feet is really not that far down in comparison to some of the other things that they're looking at, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking for this flood tunnel, and as they get closer to the shore, it's going to get higher up. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that maybe they've actually located one of the flood tunnels because they've dug into something.
Right.
They found tunnels before, or what they think are tunnels, but we'll have to just see how this plays out. Anyway. It's a huge break in the case when they find this. If it's actually the flood tunnel.
Well, yeah.
But they don't know. So,
was it wet?
Well, yes, it was wet.
Okay.
It wasn't dry. I know there has been times where they found dry pieces of wood.
Well, I mean, if it's an active tunnel, then the whole sample, should be wet.
And you would think would probably smell of seawater or something, but they didn't actually say anything about that. They just noted, you could tell it was wet.
Yeah.
Anyway, they go back to the war room, share their findings with the group, and then they decide, well, if we map this out, where these holes are, compared to some of the other objects that we found, the walls and things that we think are associated with this, where does that line point? Mm-hmm. And wouldn't you know it, it's directly to the money pit, baby.
Oh, well, yeah.
Makes
Except
sense.
they don't really know where the money pit was.
Well, except where they think the money
where they
pit
think
is.
it was, yeah.
So they have a connection because they think that money pit's over there. So you know that this is the tunnel that's going to the money pit. And so they dig farther down in this spot because they're like, well, maybe there's other construction here. We're going to keep going and see what we can find. They only find mud and clay.
Okay.
So
they found the wood and they just kept going?
They kept going.
What the hell do they think they're going to find?
I don't know.
That's a tunnel. Wait, what's going to be under the tunnel?
Tunnels.
Another tunnel?
Yeah, who knows? It wouldn't be the first time there was the weird tunnels under
tunnel
tunnels.
And then a tunnel.
And then like a sealed in area that could be a treasure vault and all that stuff. So anyway, they find mud.
All right.
And it cuts to Rick Lagina meeting with Tom Nolan, and one of the other guys was there too. I don't remember who.
Yeah.
And they're discussing excavation in the swamp now. Mm-hmm. And they go through the whole backstory of how Tom Nolan's now a part of the team.
Yep.
He's on the team for the first time this year, and they're going to figure out what they can do to excavate in that swamp. So we just talked about it in the last episode. Well, they have this idea. What about getting these inflatable portable dams?
All right.
To block some of that water.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea.
They've used those before.
They have, and they've worked pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, you still have to pump water out and hopefully get in there before it starts to come back in. But They have an idea. They have a plan on what they want to do.
Yep.
But they also had one last episode. So we'll see where it goes.
Still, yeah.
They have a couple options now, at least. And then we switch locations again.
Okay.
Back to my favorite.
Yeah?
Gary!
Gary Drayton.
Gary and Charles Barkhouse go to Lot 21.
Old Charlie.
Oh, yes. And they're breaking out the metal detectors for this one, boys.
All right, Charlie, get your shovel hand ready.
So they start metal detecting as soon as they get out there. And immediately they get a hot spot. It's like every time they just go out there.
I wonder how long. They're not going to show him on the show like searching for an hour and not finding anything. I wonder how long he's actually out there not finding shit.
Probably a while, but I would really like it if it said 8 a.m. when they pull in, and then 10 o'clock.
That's good. Yeah,
he finds something. It would make me appreciate what they're doing there a little bit more. Otherwise, it just always constantly seems like they walk out. Hey, I found something.
Well, what the hell do you need Gary for?
Right.
Just have everyone grab a metal detector and just start
combing that part of the island.
Comb the shit out of it.
If they keep finding things every time they go, there's got to be so much there.
Yep.
So they immediately hit this hot spot, dig it out. It's a coin.
Oh, coin.
Oh, yeah. It's only from the 1800s. It's still old, but unfortunately not as old as other coins that they've seen before. But man, does Gary like finding stuff.
Oh, it's a coin.
It's a coin. It's amazing. And so they keep metal detecting, and wouldn't you know it, right away, find something else. And this time, Charles digs the first hole, and then Gary goes over. He goes, well, I want to dig it out because it could be something good. So I'm like, oh boy. And he goes in, and he's digging through, and he's got his little wand monitor when he sticks in the holes. And he's like, oh, it is. This is amazing. This is unbelievable. It's fantastic. It's a commercial.
Okay.
Cuts to commercial.
Yeah.
The commercials are open with Nespresso.
Ooh, Nespresso.
Have you seen any Nespresso commercials lately?
I've seen them, I think, last year. There was one with Clooney and Danny DeVito.
It's still Clooney.
Okay.
But this time he's a knight in a movie with one of the women from Game of Thrones.
Oh, really?
Cersei's son, that was the last king.
Yep.
Eventually was married to this girl. And she was...
Wasn't it the same chick that was married to the shitty one?
Yes.
So she married both.
Yeah.
She's hot. She's hot.
Yeah, she's pretty attractive, I would say. She's in this commercial.
Oh,
okay, so it took us a while to get there.
Watch that commercial.
But we got to the commercial. And so it's just this whole thing where he's like, oh, like, I need to save the kingdom. But then he's like, well, I need to walk out of the movie screen right now and go get some coffee, actually. And so he walks out through the movie screen into the street, goes walking around and is like looking at people making coffee. And then he just walks up and gets like an espresso coffee somewhere. And then he walks all the way back and goes into the movie with the coffee cup. And then the queen lady is like, did you bring enough for the entire kingdom? And he's like, uh-oh.
They say a coffee cup thing is kind of funny with the Game of Thrones coffee cup thing.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
That is an interesting idea.
I don't know if they meant to do that, but...
That would be pretty deep level stuff right there if they meant to do that. It didn't seem like it to me.
An espresso.
But anyway, we get back to the show.
All right.
They pull out this thing from the hole that they found with the metal detector, and it's a piece of what looks like old jewelry.
Okay.
Actually, it looks dope as hell. I took a picture of my television screen so I could show you.
I think I saw it.
You probably saw it.
It's got the
leaf,
the leaf
with ropes.
Yep. It's kind of cool.
It's pretty cool looking. So they think it's an old kind of decorative leaf brooch of some kind. And Gary immediately
They love their brooches on the show. They found some before.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, what do you call something like that otherwise?
Pin?
A pin, I guess. They actually, I think later on, mentioned it could be a cloak pin.
It's a cloaking device?
Yes. They had the technology back in the day. That's why this place is so
can't
far.
find the treasure.
This is it. We just call these guys. Get the Lagina's phone number.
Yeah,
we have solved
device.
it.
Yeah. Get Han Solo. No ship that small as a cloaking device.
All right. So Gary thinks this thing could be from the 1500s to the 1700s, which, okay, Gary. Anyway, they go back and they're discussing, what could this be from? They bring it to Kelly to examine the artifact, and they mention that, well, it looks kind of like a naval or military insignia.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a cloak pin. And then they go, well, there was a guy from the French Navy that was called Duc d'Anville that had his Navy group there, and he was connected to the Knights Templar.
Oh.
And the reason that was important was, they made this connection to the Knight Templar based off of this potential, because it looks kind of like maybe a military thing, but they don't know. They really went down the rabbit hole. This was them going down the rabbit hole.
Really, because it's just like 3 ropes, and then you get the whole leaf.
Well,
the leaf is prominent.
We'll get to this. So they see the double rope border. They can tell looks like something that's very expensive. They go to the pub. They're going to go into the.
They're going to get sloshed and talk about this shit.
Hey, if they're doing it, we can do it too. That's why we're here.
Hey, find that fucking leaf, man. Yeah, brooch. Cloak device.
How many branches does that leaf have? How many branches does it have?
That's right.
Oh, that looks like 13 branches to me. Oh my God. It's 13 branches.
Yeah.
You know what this means.
You know what that means.
This is linked directly back to George Washington because of that 13 branches. That's what they said.
What? Like the 13 colonies?
Because he had a flag that had a pine tree that had 13 branches on it.
Oh. No.
And this pine tree matched a carving that was found on the island in the previous season.
On the stone or something?
Yeah, on the stone.
Right.
And so
I remember this rabbit hole.
The leaf has the same number of branches on it as those trees did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a direct connection to George Washington now.
Oh.
And
these guys are really good at connect the dots.
They're really good.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to end it on this because the DVR stopped playing it and I missed the last 5 minutes or so. But they're in the pub, so it's essentially over.
Yeah.
And they go to take this brooch out so they can examine it while they're there. And
and someone drops it on the floor.
No. The Lagina's son, I forget his name. Alex, he has it. He's the one that had brought it to Kelly to get cleaned off. He takes it out and he opens the box and he goes, well, first I have to put the gloves on.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh.
You're in a fucking pub.
They're like, oh my goodness. And then good old Gary says, it's good because you have to wear gloves.
Yeah.
And that's how they start going into it. It's like, it's so delicate. This is such a good one.
Delicate.
And that was how it ended. They were like, this is good. This is interesting.
Yep.
We found more links to George Washington and the Knights Templar. We are going to find this treasure very soon.
One brooch at a time.
Seriously, what do we need to do to get on the show and tell them our idea of just getting 5 metal detectors on one lot?
I don't know. Just get a team, just set up a line. Maybe police the field for garbage and scouts. You just police with metal detectors.
The island's not that big. You could canvas
just
that
fan
island
out and just start going, man.
Oh yeah. If they put us on the team,
let's do it.
We could help solve this mystery.
Yeah, you can't do it now because it's cold out or ground's frozen. But
right, but summertime. Come summertime,
let's do it.
Let's go. All right. Well. That's where we're going to leave it for Curse of Oak Island Season 7, Episode 4. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Be sure to tune in for the next one.
Keep broaching.
as I'm going through here, if you're reading it, the number of exclamation points I put is the energy level which with I should be reading this.
Okay.
So if you want to hop in at some point with an interesting note because you see lots of exclamation points, feel free.
Okay. All right. Well, you should be animated apparently then during some of this.
Oh, I think I'm going to be.
Okay.